Shut up and sit down.
Hey folks, time to put 3 men in the box.
Hey, it's 2 men in the box. Nick, as you can see, down there, he's in Florida, but dinner with mom's running a little bit long tonight, so he might join us later on. We'll just leave that black box there. Worst comes to worst, I'll throw some funny pictures of Nick in. I promised him I won't do that. He's a little mortified. Have you seen the plus 10-year challenge on Facebook? Or
I have, yeah. I've seen it. It's quite hysterical.
Have you done it yet?
I have not yet. No. Have you?
I did 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 years. I'm old. Well, welcome to 2.5 men in the box, depending if Nick gets back. Jeremiah, how you doing, buddy? You ready for the snow tonight?
Dude, snow's already happening. I don't know about you guys down south a little bit, but we already probably got like 4 or 5 inches, and I've already had to shovel it once. It's been quite the adventure so far. Yeah,
after I do this, I'm on my way out. It's gonna be a lot of fun to shovel a lot. Hey, West Ham played again this weekend, and we lost again. I like to quote people who like to say it's no big deal. We lose every weekend. It's starting to feel like that a little bit again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little bit frustrating, to be honest. I think maybe in this match you had the feeling like things were up and things were a little bit exciting, and then something happened. They had a good counter, and when Son put the ball in, which Roberto probably should have stopped, and then you could see it. You could instantly see the negativity and just the heads going down.
Yeah, I watched bits and pieces of the match. I was on dad duty this weekend, so it was on in the front room. It was on in the upstairs as I was running around the house with the kids. Every time I turned it on, I'm sorry, West Ham just looked terrible. They really did. You know what? I want to take a moment and salute anybody who actually went to that match at the Olympic Stadium. Yeah. What a terrible match. I salute you all. And I mean, there was a lot of drinking going on, so I think that might have helped. Dude, we're going to talk about Manuel here in a minute. You know what I want to do for a second? We're going to try and break this up a little bit tonight. Dude, talk to me about the kids. What have you seen from the kids in the last week? You and I traded some messages earlier on today.
We did. So, unfortunately, not try to add, pile more negativity on top, but obviously I think Josh Cullen took a little bit of a knock. But
yeah,
when you're his size, because he's not a big dude, but when you play the way he does, it's going to happen from time to time. But one really good news story, and it really comes into play with a really bad news story that West Ham have right now, is Nathan Trott is once again looking phenomenal. I feel like the more and more he plays and the more minutes he gets at Wimbledon, the better he looks. And I know it's a championship, but they're looking good.
Well, goalkeeping is a case of typically either you have a chance to stop the ball or you don't. That net is huge. It's more what you do when the ball's in play in your area, and he seems to be really getting quite good at commanding his box. He's a tall lad. He's 6'3", 6'3". I can't remember which one. He's a big, lanky kid. Yeah. And I watched a few minutes of some highlights, and he's getting out there and he's doing it. And it's certainly better than it was at the beginning of the season. So I love this loan. I love this loan for him.
It's good to see smart loans like this coming out for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see one smart thing at West Ham. Listen, I don't know if you saw last week or not. I spoke about the price of football by a guy named Kieran Maguire. He talked about, how West Ham is and where we're at as a club and the big money and stuff in football. And it just doesn't seem like we're look, I'm not pro board. I'm not negative board. I don't know them. They don't know me. I see some of the stuff they do. I certainly don't see the investment other owners make in their clubs from these guys. We could definitely see some more money. And listen, it wouldn't take you long to look on Twitter and go, oh, here's 10 tweets like why I hate the board, how much money they spent. They've done a good job with some of the kids in the last couple of years. And I think the club needs to be respected for that. Nathan Trott's a good example. I think Cullen did well. Declan Rice has really come a long ways. We've seen Grady Diangana come along. I saw some notes about Martin Samuelson. Mm-hmm. It sounds like he's going to make a permanent move up to the Great White North, up in he's playing Sweden, right?
I think it's Sweden, yeah.
Sweden, yeah. Which is good for him. Haksabanovic sounds like he's playing really well, but his club doesn't want to let him go. Yeah. So, but I mean, listen, the club has done some really good things with that. The board has not always. Board gets a lot of grief, and some of it's probably deserved. I don't know who to thank for some of these loans, but I thought, the loan situation this year is finally one where you're not kind of like, well, what the heck's going on here?
No, it has. I mean, in previous years, Cullen would be the best loan. When he went out last year, that was probably the best loan out. This year, you can honestly look at all of them, and not a single one's been really bad. From Haksabanovic to Samuelson, who look like maybe they might be staying or going. We're not really sure. They've had good loans. We've already talked about Cullen. We've talked about Trott. But even some of the younger guys, some of the guys that we don't really talk about in the under 18s that are loaned out to League One and League Two sides, they're getting play time. And they're getting play time against grown men, which is obviously something that's going to be needed further on down the road.
I've got a question for you. Look, so last year was Declan Rice's breakout year. Mm-hmm. Sanchez had been signed and got hurt. And all of a sudden he comes out. All honesty, do you think that Manuel Pellegrini plays Declan Rice as much as he did last year, and we learn as much about Declan if Sanchez doesn't get hurt?
I think so. I think still yes, because I think Sanchez would have showed probably his true colors and who he kind of really is as a player now. I think he would have gotten that opportunity. I think probably, I don't really know, I'm just guesstimating here, but I would imagine a lot of people around West Ham are pretty big on playing Declan Rice as much as possible. Okay. So that would be my opinion. But yeah, maybe not as much, and maybe Sanchez wouldn't get as much stick as he does now if he didn't get hurt, and maybe he had some better opportunities. But kind of the way football is, dude, it kind of is what it is now at this point.
Well, it is what it is. So that was a quick talk about Tottenham, as much as I want to talk about it. That was the kids.
Yeah.
I don't think we can avoid this. I think earlier on today, I think you were on this thread. I'm gonna pull it up here on my phone.
Yeah.
We have a WhatsApp group going on with a bunch of the guys from all over the U.S. And Brad Hollister, who is New Orleans, put this up, and I'm gonna put the picture up now. You can't see it, of course, but I'll read it to you. After the game finished Saturday, a West Ham player quoted in a discreet one-on-one conversation, talking about Pellegrini. He has to go. I love him, but he's lost the dressing room, and now our players have just stopped listening. In all my time in football, I've never seen a team lacking such ambition to win games. You know what? That's awful, but I'm not surprised. By the way, the source for that is somebody called Forbo. I don't know who this is. Because you've probably seen that I haven't tweeted as much in the last week or two, and I haven't done as much video. I've been fairly busy with my daytime job. I'm going to go try and find out who this guy is. Mm-hmm. It really sounds like all the things we're afraid of about the club being out of place with Pellegrini are really true.
Yeah, I think that if it is true, speaks volumes. And you can tell the players, and you write a piece and you talk about certain things. The players can do as much as they can at some points, right? And other times they're just not going to work out that well. But I think that realistically, it comes down to him. A lot of times it comes down to him, and it comes down to what he does in the dressing room and what he does and other things like that. And truly, realistically, I think that, it's kind of sad to hear, and be quite honest with you. And if it is true, I kind of wonder, I'm gonna pass it back to you. If you had to guess, which player do you think it was? If you had to put a little a guesstimate on that one.
Well, it's going to be somebody who's got the balls to talk somebody who the media is going to listen to and have enough respect not to say anything for. So it's going to be somebody fairly senior, I would think. It could be Snodgrass.
Yeah.
I don't think it's either going to be Declan Rice or Mark Noble. Noble's pretty cautious about how he faces up to the media, and that doesn't sound like something Declan Rice would do. And it's not to say he couldn't.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's consistent with his character. I would say somebody like McMessy. It's not. I don't think it would be any of the foreign players. I don't know for sure. It sure wasn't the waiter. It wasn't Roberto. He would have dropped the conversation partway through.
He can't keep anything going. Yeah.
I really fought hard not to turn it into a personal attack, but that guy sucks. Like,
yeah, I tweeted about it on Saturday after the match, and it's true. I try not to slate players. I mean, in all the different forums and places that I write and do different things, I try really, 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 really hard not to put players and people down. But that first goal was Son. The ball was just to his left, and he just missed it. And the other two, I don't know if you watched the replays, but the other two, they went between his hands.
Yeah,
both the balls went.
Well, I saw one of them, and it's like magic hands.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't. I've never played goalie in my life. I've played a little bit of center mid, but only for a little bit. But it's a big net, like you said, and 90% of it is getting in the right place at the right time. And it seems like he might be in the right place, but dude, like, you got to use your hands. And even at the I think it was a couple minutes into the match, he went in to catch a ball, which he had been, slated for punching it away the last couple weeks. He went in and tried to catch it, and when he did it, I mean, he missed it at that point too, and almost gave up a goal. I think it was on, I forget who the player was now, and then obviously later on he punched, Ogbonna in the face. So that's the whole thing.
Yeah, it's a mess. Ultimately,
it really is. Yeah,
I sat down and really thought about it. When I first started watching West Ham for real about a decade ago, I always thought they had decent center backs. Maybe the right and left back weren't great. They had some people who could strike. They had guys who could put the ball in the net. They had a terrible midfield. It seems in the last 10 years, really, we've focused on the midfield, and we've never really had great defense. And listen, I think Diop is still a world-class player.
Yeah.
He's having a terrible streak right now, and I can't say it any other way. He is not getting the coaching. He needs to be better.
No.
Balbuena is not getting the coaching. He needs to be better.
Yeah.
Ogbonna, he's, played for the Italian national club once or twice, I think, and he started for years. There's a really solid center back. They're not getting the information they need. We can't figure out what's going on in left back because Mazuaku seems to be gone. Did he not play? Yeah, he played during the international break, and I think he did pretty well.
He did, and I think you hit the nail right on the head with that. Is the older players we talk a lot about, and I know in our WhatsApp group, and you see it all over Twitter, the players that have played well, right? Snodgrass, Noble, Rice, because he's probably getting conditioned by Noble, and a couple other players like that. They've been doing really well, and I think it's because they are veterans and they've been around the game for a while. It's these younger guys that played well last year, and now all of a sudden, they're not getting the continual coaching and the continued kind of mentorship because, in all honesty, when things suck this bad, like, does anybody really want to play at all?
And listen, we'll talk here in a minute about what we think about the manager. I remember David Moyes coming in, and I don't want David Moyes back. As a matter of fact, word on the street, Moyes is going to be Everton's new coach this week. So I don't think we're going to end up with David Moyes, and there seems to be some reasonable people thinking he's not really a good fit. He was fine. He got us out of trouble. He's not where we want to go long term. But I remember seeing pictures of him physically grabbing, I think it was Pedro Obiang, and physically moving around. I haven't seen any pictures of the managers physically touching players, getting not touching, not this, but kind of moving around.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing any sense that, their workouts during the week are getting them ready for the game. We've lost the plot here. And clearly, I mean, that comment, the picture I had up a minute ago with that quote, he's lost the dressing room. He's not managing. He's not coaching. And the players wouldn't respond anyways. I said a few weeks ago I solidly Pellegrini out, and I got a lot of grief. I love the DM I got this week. Could I be a little bit more positive? Said I'm positive that Tottenham beat us, and well done. Something to that effect. Pellegrini's got to go. Got to go, man.
Too. You go back to Moise, and I'm 100% with you. I don't want him back at the club. He did great things, and he kept us up. And very easily we could have went down last year, I think, at certain points. And not last year, 2 years ago. Yeah. But another quote that he made during that his first initial presser was like, if you're going to play hard, like if you're not going to play hard, you're not going to play. Basically, if you're not going to practice hard, you're not going to play. And I think that we almost need to go back to that. I look back on an old tweet that you posted the one time, like, I hope you're not serious. We talking about X, that he's just playing Balbuena because he feels bad about him and not playing. And that
he was.
Yeah,
I got that. I got that
from me. That's just astonishing. Like,
X had posted that, and I knew somebody else at the club, and I sent a note to them. It's like, is this true? And about a week later, it's like, yeah, that's actually word for word what happened. You're like, this is professional sports. Like, look, this is not life or death. All right, this is football. Hopefully, nobody dies. But come on, like, manage it professionally. Anyways, so all the rumors are out. All the knives are out. It sounds like Emery is going to go from Arsenal. It sounds like Everton's going to flop their manager as well. Poch is already gone from Tottenham. Do you think the board is ready to pull the trigger?
That's a tough question. I think partially yes, and I think depends on where you look in social media and where you look on the internet to find your West Ham information. You'll see places that say yes. You'll see places that say they may wait for the Chelsea match and the Wolves match, which I'm not trying to be negative, but those two matches don't seem very positive right now as far as outcomes, regardless if it's home or away. So I think that they should be. I know that they spent a lot of money to bring Pellegrini in, and they owe him a lot of money if they fire him. But nothing is going right now. And if you lose if this keeps going and you keep Pellegrini because you want to save money and something crazy happens where we get relegated. And I don't know if I think you were a fan. I know I'd just become a fan. We got relegated back in 2000. Was it 2010, 11?
I'd have to go back and look. I don't remember.
Anyway, it was a pretty solid team. They had some pretty solid players on that team, but they weren't playing very well together. And same thing right now. We have a lot of solid players in this team, but they weren't playing well together. They're not coached well. And it could very easily happen. We're sitting, I think, in 17th now with that Villa won tonight. I think with Villa winning, it bumped them ahead of us because of the goal differential. I'm pretty sure.
We are 17th.
Yep.
We are tied on goal differential. They have one more goal. Oh, pardon me. No, hang on. Villa and Everton are ahead of us. We have 13 points. They have 14 points.
Yep. Yeah, so we're sitting right there in 17th.
We got Norwich at 10, Southampton at 9, and Watford at 8. Listen, we are 1/3 the way through the season. We've played 13 of 38 games, so we're 34% or 34.5% through the season.
Yeah.
2 more games is not life or death. It's not the end of the world. I don't think we're going to beat Chelsea. I don't think we'll beat Wolves with this team playing the way they are. What I'm wondering, and I'm not expecting anybody out there to have an answer. If you do, call me. I thought that the whole Pochettino situation was really weird, that they waited till like a couple of days before the match to fire him and then bring Mourinho in. Well, it turns out they'd been talking and they finally got a deal in place. And that as soon as they had a deal in place, he's gone.
Yep.
So these deals don't happen overnight. Kind of what I'm wondering, and I'm hoping there's somebody out there who can confirm this. I'm wondering if they're already negotiating with somebody and they just say, we're not going to let him go until we set somebody else in place.
Yeah. And I think, too, that, previously we've seen with Bilic when he was getting axed, it was kind of known that it was coming, but you didn't really see the different names and the rumors and stuff pop up like you have this time. Especially the one when you talk about Sean Dyche, how he reached out to the club. That's crazy. I would love to have him, number one. But
I'm still trying to find out where that came from. I want to find out who said that, because if that's real, in all honesty, I don't think Sean Dyche is the greatest manager in the history of the world. I think there are better managers.
Yeah.
But I think he's kind of what we need right now. Yeah. He is structured. You take Sunday off, you show up Monday morning and you drill all week and you execute a game plan. And they're doing not badly with that game plan. He does not have great players. However, Burnley is currently sitting 7th.
And he's not afraid to switch up formations either. So
now, having said that, Burnley is sitting 7th with 18 points. We are 17th with 13. It's a really screwed up league this year. So if it takes 2 weeks for them to find somebody and get rid of Pellegrini, fine. I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, they'll never get rid of him. They'll never pay him out." £10 million. Okay, to you and me, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Against what you're giving up by not being in the Premiership, that's a drop in the bucket. TV money is something like, £80 million by the time you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Write the check.
Make it work. Make it work and make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. So we do play Chelsea. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? Who do you think tries to show up this week? What will be the thing that tells you whether or not the player showed up this week?
I think it's going to tell a lot if probably in the first 15 minutes. I think the first 15 minutes of the match will give you a lot, and that's if obviously we don't give up a goal. I think the way who might be in the match, that could tell a lot. I don't want to keep going on this whole Roberto trend, but he just can't. He just can't be in there. So that'll show something.
He's not good
right?
enough to play foot.
No.
He's not good enough to play football at this level right now. I don't know if he's a great guy, a terrible guy. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
He's not doing himself any favors. He's not doing the team any favors by being in there.
Right.
But we're running into Pellegrini's stubbornness. He will not make a change. I was not entirely kidding last couple of weeks when I said, start an Ang.
Yeah.
I mean, what the heck could it hurt right now? I mean, okay, he's young, he's inexperienced. What else? What else are you going to do? They clearly don't think David Martin can do it, and Roberto showed he can't. What's there to lose? Anyways,
it's all going to show. And Antonio's big too. And having Antonio back could be huge. Yeah.
Yep. Those 2 goals at the end of the match, they paper over the cracks of how bad that match was. Yeah. And yes, you know what? Harry Kane dragged Diop down, and Diop got a handball call and a yellow card. All right, that's terrible reffing. You know what? That happens. While I was sitting here, Steve Eisner, a friend of mine, he's a Hammer fan from California, said, you know what he'd want to do right now if we don't have another manager? Mark Noble, player coach. Until we get a new manager.
How about that?
Do you think guys would respond to him?
Bring the likes back of like Kevin Nolan, bring some Joe Cole back, bring some of that like. I'm kind of kidding based on your facial expressions, but yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know about Joe Cole. I wouldn't mind Nolan coming in and like just if nothing else, going look. I'll interim. They don't do a lot of interim managers anymore. But anyways, you know what? This weekend will be interesting. I'm gonna go try and watch it down. Assuming there's not 8 feet of snow in Denver, there's supposed to be a foot tonight or 4 feet or something like that. I'm gonna try and get down to the pub and watch with the Mile High Hammers. Dude, as always, best part of my Monday is talking to you and Nick, even though we don't seem to have Nick here anymore.
He's somewhere. Yeah, I don't know which way he is, but
he's hanging out with Mom in Florida. So, Nick, we hope you have a great night. The rest of you guys, be good, take care, and please come on, your irons. Oh.